When Ryan was coming on as the head pastor, I just happened to be finishing up my first cross art piece, and I just happened to pass Ryan on campus one day, and he was like, hey, we're gonna be redoing the worship center, and we need another cross. And I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I think I have some leftover wood left and some more metal. And he's like, but we need it to be bigger. And so I was like, all right, how big do you need it? And he was like, well, like a lot bigger, because it's gonna go at the front of the worship center. I told you I was gonna get emotional about this because this is just, it's such an honor, And when he said that, it kind of hit me, because I was just thinking to myself, like, I'm not qualified to build something that's this massive and this important. And I found myself in the worship center one time, and I realized that all of the pews were disassembled and they were just strewn about in different piles. And I saw a pile of the rails that were the top rails of the back of the pew. And so I asked Ryan, what if we used it for the cross? When I asked him about it, he was just over the moon. He was like, yes, that would be awesome. Let's do that. If you were to ask me why I wanted to incorporate the wood from the old pews, I think my answer when I started the project would be different than the answer that I would give you now that the project is done. Because when we started, I probably would have said, because it's there, it's available and it's free, let's use it. But as I began to break down the wood and cut it into the pieces so that it could be assembled, I started to think about the pieces of wood that I was holding in my hand. And and I thought some of these pieces of wood might actually have a pretty good story behind them, Maybe one day there was a guy that had never been to church, and and maybe he came in one day and he sat at the pew in the back, and as his hands rested on the top of that, I thought maybe that piece of wood could be this piece right here. And then when I was actually at the lumberyard today, and I was buying that piece of wood there, the lady was asking me what I was building, and I was telling her about this cross project, and she's like, what church is it for? And I said, it's for Emmanuel Faith. And she's like, I got saved there. And that was like, that really took the specialness of this cross project to the next level, because when the time that she got saved there, maybe her hand was resting on this piece right here. And I think that there's a lot of other stories that could go into this cross with all these individual pieces. Man. And I think that's one of the coolest things for me, is to take all this wood that has sort of this past, and there's probably a lot of stories associated with all these little pieces. And when you look at all these individual pieces that have come together to make this one big piece, they're all different shapes and different sizes and different colors, and it's kind of like, isn't that the Emmanuel Faith family? And so it's like, if you ask me, why do I want to incorporate the wood from the old pews? It's because it's like any other wood would have just been wood, but that stuff is, this wood is Emmanuel Faith. It is the family, and it's like we're all up here now on this cross that hangs up at the front of the sanctuary. The church isn't a building, it's really a family, and we're all coming together so that we can focus on what's really important, and that's Jesus.